Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Doyle Field. I'm Pat LaPointe. If you don't know me, I'm the Doyle Field coordinator, and I'm part of the Doyle Field Commission. And we're here because of the generosity of Jeff and Lisa Richards. Thank you very much, folks. We're here to dedicate this lovely bench in memory of a person that we all know and love, John Culley. I want to thank Melissa Tasker, who's taking a picture of the bench. She's here for representing the mayor's office. Thanks, Melissa. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Leominster High School's new athletic director. He wanted to say a few words about John today, and we're very happy to have him, Mr. David Palazzi.
Thank you, Pat. Just wanted to say a few things. I mean, this is just a terrific honor. I wish there actually were a lot of students. I'd like to bring a lot of the athletes down here in the fall and just have them look at these benches and realize, you know, a guy like John, or Coach Culley, I used to call him when I played, just a selfless person, giving of his time, was a Blue Devil through and through. His entire family has followed in his footsteps. I mean, he's left a legacy among all of us, among myself, to pass on to all these student athletes, just a lot of the traits and the values that we really want in Leominster student athletes. Respect each other, love family, love your teammates, put your teammates first. All the things I think we can all say, we try to get kids today to understand. If we had a John Culley around today, he would probably turn these kids around, some of the kids that really don't understand some of the values and what it takes to be successful. So, you know, I was a high school student athlete when I knew Coach Culley. He worked the equipment room. You didn't go in the equipment room. You didn't grab screwdrivers. You didn't touch any of his stuff. I mean, he took pride in taking care of the equipment, standing on the sidelines, getting kids ready to go in and onto the field to be successful. And I think, you know, that's the lasting memory. I always tell everybody I have a little piece of all my coaches and everybody that's influenced me in my lifetime. And Coach Culley was one of those guys that I can look back and just truly say he had such a great impact on myself and a number of athletes that he was surrounding himself throughout the years. So I just want to thank Pat and Doyle Field Commission, the Richards, for doing this. I think it's a great honor, and it's something I think you know, a lot of the student athletes need to see and understand who he really was. So thank you.
Thank you so much for buying this lovely bench, but it fits very well over here.
Lisa's idea. She brought it up.
Lisa, thank you.
Well, we all that spent time with John got to realize this is a man that gave of his time. He didn't ask for anything, and he was really a good friend to all. We got to know him in unusual circumstances. I'm sure others, we might have had a beer or two together, and kind of like that. Might have. And anyway, John was always hanging around, and we'd see him giving all his time here at the football games and running in with the team, sweating, and all the kids I went to school with knew him as Coach Culley back in the 70s and 80s. And, you know, this was a guy these young people today should emulate. He really did give back for no monetary means. He was a good man. I just had the pleasure of knowing him, and I thank everybody who came here today. And my wife Lisa brought this up because you got to see on being on the outside from Fitchburg. She actually noticed the man that gave so much that she said, boy, he deserves it. And when we brought it up to Pat, he thought the same thing. So I want to thank everybody involved in allowing us to do this, and it's a good tribute to John. One thing I'd like to say that they didn't know about John, not too many. John served in World War II, the Normandy landing. That's all you hear about from England recently. This man did it all. And that, I feel, was his claim to fame. I mean, that was a good man.
Dad said to me, you don't need a job, you get the rest of your life to go to work. Get involved. So I just got involved in school. I went out for cheering, and we'd say, we're gonna have a rally, can you get us some skids? He would set up lights, he would do whatever he could to help everybody. And with regards to World War II, he was on the night of D-Day, night before D-Day, he was on an LST, and his landing party was on Utah Beach, which I think was the first successful beach in the conflict. But he never talked about it. He'd never talk about his experiences. He just kept them personal. And he loved his job. My mother used to yell at him all the time, "You're taking all my towels." You know, he'd pack up all her towels and take them to the football game. And she said, "We can never use them again." It was funny that way, but he loved what he did. And he loved being with the kids, and it kept him young. So he was a good dad. He was a strict dad, but he had values. He learned a lot because his family was a big family, and he was one of the youngest, and he had to work hard. And he loved his family. And Leominster High was part of his family.
I can remember being a kid with my dad down here at Doyle. He used to babysit me because Paula and my elder siblings were all off at school. Ann probably wasn't even in the picture yet. And so my mother would work and he would bring me with him, and so we would be down here at Doyle, or we would be up at the high school at practices, and I would just be running around, but he'd be doing his thing. And I mean, he did a lot of things. I don't know if anybody even remembers, like the Babe Ruth Field. The lights, those lights were put up by the guys from Mass Electric on their spare time. They did a lot of things in town like that.
Practice field
At the high school. The lights up there. Yeah. He made that happen. You know, just a lot of things that he just nobody ever knew. And jack of all trades. Jeff would look at him and say, "Hey, you can fly a plane? You can fly a plane?" He used to tell us things like all the time. "I know how to fly a plane. I know how to take care of horses." What? And Jeff would say to us, "He does. He does." He'd be out at the winner's circle with the horse and taking care of that horse. And he was a great guy. Jack of all trades. He was good. He was good. But I had a great experience. He didn't.
I never tell her, and he never went early to the races.
Yeah. Just, yeah.
He'd sleep standing up.
I worked for Mass Electric. They had a call list. So if there were trouble, they would call the people on call. He was always, when he was at the bottom of the list, because people had responsibilities, he'd go. Christmas Eve, he was coming back from a call, and he noticed a house fire. And he ran in. The husband was working. The mother and 3 or 4 children, he got them all out of the house, called the fire department. And she wrote a beautiful letter.